Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Jenny Kramer, and today Maria is going to be taking the day off. And we are having a guest speaker, which is actually my lovely husband, Anthony. And today we're going to go into fatherhood and postpartum. It's going to be a candid conversation with my lovely husband. In this intimate and honest episode, my husband joins me. On the mic as I'll open up about the raw reality of becoming parents. We talk about what life really is like after having a baby, with all that sleep deprivation, the emotional highs and lows, and the unexpected ways of postpartum and how it impacts the both of us. So yeah, let's jump in. And honestly, Anthony, you can be completely frank on this. Don't be shy.
No, I won't be shy.
So, honey,
Yes.
how did it feel when you first became a parent? I would love to know, truthfully, how you felt.
Honestly, it was super weird because I was almost like numb. I didn't think not numb in a bad way. It was just like, oh, like there's no turning back. Is like that. It is what it is. We have a child now, so it's like, okay, I'm just gonna like kind of take things one step at a time and just see how things come. And what do we do? Like when we first became parents. Like for example, like when we first brought AJ home, it was okay. I think like he was like sleeping or something like that probably. So we just like put him on the couch and then just like stood there and was like, I guess I'm gonna make a coffee, and then, like I don't know, and then like it was really weird because I don't think it sunk in for a bit, like a week or so, that we had another human in the house that wasn't going away.
And how weird was it that we couldn't just like be like, I'm gonna run to Shoppers Drug Mart?
Oh yeah, that's I mean that I'm sure we'll get into, but that was the biggest sticker shock I think of more than anything, not knowing the capabilities of like what we're able to do and not having that freedom to do whatever we want. Like we would go to dinner 3-4 times a week to not being able to do any of those things. The social shock, or not the social shock, but the culture shock of it was like, okay, there's definitely a difference in our ability to kind of do whatever we wanted to do. We had 100% of freedom, down to like none.
Yeah, totally.
In the sense of like being able to like do whatever you wanted to do.
Right. I would say like my expectations, beforehand and how it differed were like night and day. Like I thought it was going to be like easy breezy. I can handle anything. I got this.
Yeah, I don't know what your expectations were. Like yours were out the freaking window. That's for sure. I mean, I said this to you before. Like we grew up around kids. My cousins, all my cousins, and stuff like that. So it was like in the sense of like having a baby around, holding a baby, this and that. Like that wasn't really a big issue for me. But knowing like, yeah, you got to change the baby's diaper. Like I was a little shocked at how much we had to change the diaper at first. Yeah, just like, okay, these are the things you got to do. And putting on a diaper wasn't really difficult. It's not like it was something I had to learn. I guess just from seeing it, like you just know how to do it. It's relatively simple, I guess.
Okay, so question, like, was there anything that really made you nervous about like the early days? I know
Honestly,
we're
not
going
really.
back almost 8 months, but
Yeah, but still, like I was never super nervous about having the baby at the house. It wasn't like something that scared me. I think it was because especially in the beginning, like he slept through everything. Like we'd be here like laughing, doing whatever, being loud, and he'd be on the couch just like passed out. So I wasn't really afraid of having the baby around. I don't think there was anything that really made me nervous. I think the only
yeah.
thing that really made me nervous, to be fair, was like, well, what if he's allergic to Adam? Like a
Oh,
bad allergy. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, oh, that's scary. Or if he was like sick or like bad sick, not like cold sick, but like if there was like a real problem with him kind of thing, that is definitely what scared me, because I was like, oh my God, he's so innocent, he's so tiny, like he's done nothing wrong, and like to have a child go through something really bad like that would be that was the thing that maybe gave me any kind of nerves. Other than that, I don't think I was nervous about anything to do with the baby per se.
So I have a question for you. How did you like truly feel? So I think it was like day 2 or day 3. AJ had to go into a different hospital for light therapy because he had pretty severe jaundice. So how did you, like, I was emotional wreck, but like truly deep down inside, like, yeah, I knew you were like mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted from everything, but like, how did you really feel being at the hospital and staying overnight with us and like getting that done? Like,
Oh, like that wasn't a big issue. I knew a lot of babies have like jaundice issues, and a lot of babies go into like that little incubator thing with the light. So I was never worried for him, and like he would wake up and sleep. Like, so, yeah, he would wake up, you feed him, change him, whatever, put him back in the incubator, was fine. Like the incubator was warm, you know, we know this now, but he is a super chill baby, so like he's good in almost every scenario. He doesn't really get freaked out about like new things. So for me, it was fine. Staying at the hospital, it's always fun to do a sleepover somewhere weird, especially I didn't have to go to work or anything like that, so I didn't care. But it was fun. Like it was fine. I mean, I know that one day I was gonna stay. I was gonna come home, just kind of like I guess tidy up things here and stuff like that. And then you wanted me to stay, and I was like, okay. Like I personally, it was like I don't see a need to stay. So, but whatever. If you need me there, I'm there. Yeah. But the jaundice thing, that didn't bug me because I know a lot of babies go through that. Again, if it was something where it's like, you know, 1 in a million babies have this, and you need to be here, or yeah, even with jaundice, you need to be there. Otherwise, you're gonna have a severe issue. But like, it's a very solvable issue, right? So, I wasn't afraid. I have, especially going to sick kids, or even seeing the hospital that we were at. Incredible, like children's area. So when I was there, I was like, this is a very comfortable place. I feel good here. You know, it wasn't anything too crazy.
see, that's like the difference between you and me. Like, I thought the world was coming to an end when I was
Yeah,
at
but
the
you think that for like a lot of things. I was like, whatever, it's not a problem. Like if you're freaking out about it, it probably doesn't need to be freaked out about. So I was like, okay, it's
Thanks.
you know.
Well, yeah, and that's where we go into now, like the postpartum experience. Like for me, like day 3, like hormones raging, like I was an emotional wreck and also physically like broken. See, for you, it was like a walk in the park and it was like no big deal. But for me, it was like, oh my God, it was like survival mode and it was like, felt like life or death. But when do you feel like things were particularly different? And I, you know, like watching me go through like the postpartum, like, did you initially see that I was going through postpartum, or did you only realize it once I like started to actually talk about it? Because I was very, very aware of it.
I'm trying to think. So, I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you got 2 pennies to rub upstairs, then you know that your wife is going through something, and there's no physical way or possible way that like a guy's going to understand, you know, what you go through. Even to this day, I, you know, wouldn't know totally how you felt and stuff like that. So the postpartum thing I knew was there, and I knew that, but I don't know the totality of the stress that you're under. And like I said, even to this day, I probably wouldn't fully understand it. But you know, it's definitely a real thing, and it's extremely stressful. You know, taking you out of the equation, just from the guy's perspective, like I think it's extremely stressful not being able to comprehend that, because you're just like, you know, what the hell? You know, it's not that bad. You got to change a couple of diapers. You got to feed him every 2 hours. You got to change a, you know, diaper every 45 minutes. It's not a big deal. Like, let's just do it. And then we sleep when he sleeps, and you sleep when, you know, or take turns taking a nap, whatever it is. But the stress of not understanding, and then that's where frustration comes in, right? You're just like, okay, I don't see a big deal out of this. But I'm sure it is more than just, I got to feed and change a diaper, that you're thinking of over like, you know, what a guy's thinking of. Because guys are very direct tasked people, right? So we will say, okay, here's the problem, we're going to fix it, we're going to find an issue, or there's an issue and we're going to find a solution to solve it. Whereas for whatever reason, you're thinking of like 30 different things. And that's where the communication kind of gets muddled, because, you know, like I'm focused on task A. And to be fair, I think this is just just men and women in general. Like I'm focused on task A and you're focused on like 40 things that like is not even on our radar. So whatever we're thinking of, we're going to get it fixed and we're going to try to get it done. For the mother in that postpartum scenario, I couldn't even imagine the different things that you're thinking of. So there's definitely two different levels or types of brains kind of going at the same issue, but one is not able to comprehend the other. I have no idea if that made sense, but I think it did.
I get what you're trying to say. Did you ever find it challenging to see me struggle, or were you kind of like, she'll kind of get over it?
Yeah, I think I was almost on the you'll get over it kind of thing, and you did, but it was again because as a man we can't comprehend what you're going through. That's the biggest problem, right? And on top of that, you had like the whiplash and stuff like that. So it's like it was like 24/7 for I don't know however many weeks it was, but it was like 24/7 X amount of weeks of just not being able to do or like be yourself or be comfortable at all, physically, mentally. Like I couldn't leave, couldn't have that, like even if it's just like 1 hour go to the gym and stuff like that. That wasn't an option, which mentally for a lot of people like myself is like, if you can't go to the gym, then it's like, or do something healthy for yourself, then it starts to like really put pressure mentally, I think. So that was a hard thing to get through, because it was like there's no time to be yourself. You're taking care of the baby and you're doing this, that, and the other, and you're upstairs yelling because you got pain shooting through your back and your neck. And obviously we're super duper lucky because we have my mom here to help, and obviously like your mom as well. She'd come and or just family in general, obviously mostly them. But yeah, so it's like that was obviously a massive help. It's when they weren't there, it was difficult for sure.
Yeah. So just to put into context here, when I think it was like day 4, I gave myself whiplash while I was giving birth. So I literally could not move my neck. And I think there was like one night where like I couldn't even move in general. I was pretty broken. I think that definitely would give anybody some sort of like anxiety or depression, because like if you physically cannot move your body and you're like, you feel incompetent to be mobile, like that's a stress trigger, right?
Yeah.
So,
and there's a bit of like helplessness, right? Like obviously like
yeah.
we want to be able to take care of you and like whatever it is, just be there for, just be a husband to you, but we can't. So that is a real serious struggle, and when we're helpless, not being able to help that, you feel like you're not doing a good job, or you're failing at being a husband, father, whatever it is, and so that's definitely another major thing as well.
Did you like find it challenging to stay positive during all of this? Like, so everyone listening today, my husband is like a very go-lucky guy, like super positive, always looks on the glass is half full kind of vibe. But like staying positive during this journey, like for me, it was like super challenging, just because like I felt like I would like get over one hurdle and then there'd be like another roadblock, and I'd be like, oh shit, like here we go again.
For sure, but that's life. There's never going to be a time where like everything's perfect. There's always going to be something. Everything's going to be great, and then I don't know, toilet breaks and you have shit water all over your floor. You know what I mean? But that's the truth. And whether it's about being a parent or homeowner or whatever it is, or just being like a married couple, there's always going to be something that comes up. So that's not something that bugs me. And you do have to find the time to do, even if it's like just like half hour, just to turn off your brain, play a video game, or like go to the gym for an hour, or go to the sauna. Like that's something that's like you mentally need things like that, and that's what you'll allowed me to stay sane through those first couple of weeks while you're going through like the postpartum. If we had like my mom here and she was like taking care of the baby, and I was able to just get out and just be quiet, like because there'll be evenings here like I don't say a word. I'm not mad at anybody. I just need to be quiet. Like for my job, for example, especially when I'm working, like I talk 9 to 5. And it's exhausting. As soon as that 5:30 or 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock hits, I like being in the backyard, not talking, throwing the ball for Adam, coming inside, not talking. You know what I mean? Like I just need my mind to come off of that high of that craziness of the day. even just having those couple of minutes of being quiet, half hour of just being quiet is like a massive help. So that's something that, I think I was able to get out there. But yeah, it is difficult when you're going through that and you're going through the helplessness or the stress of it or the annoyance of the noise or whatever it is. Yeah, you have that issue for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go into some questions about like the difficulties of, having a child and how it affects or could affect our relationship. I think that, one of the hardest parts, especially in the beginning when I was undergoing the postpartum, like, I felt like for some reason I just didn't feel like we were a team. Like I felt like I think I was like internally angry because I'm like, here you're physically like good to go. You can get up, you can go to the gym, you can take care of yourself, you still look good. And then here there's me who's like in excruciating pain, like can barely sit on the couch without it hurting. Or if I'm changing a diaper, my back is like broken, and like your life just kind of physically didn't change, whereas my life completely changed. And like even looking in the mirror, like I just was so unhappy with the way that I looked or the way that I felt, right? And I
Hmm.
know the first couple weeks, like for some reason I was just like so angry at you. Like I
Hmm.
felt like you were like my worst arch enemy. Is that what they call it in
Yeah.
superhero world? Like I literally thought like you were my worst enemy and I was like so angry at you. Looking back, I'm like, but why was I so angry? But during that experience, like, how did you feel? What were you thinking? Like, what was going through your mind?
What like when you were going through that? Yeah, I think that's like part of that postpartum conversation we are having, right? Like, just almost feel like it's just one of those stages you go through. Like, to be fair, like, if you're sitting there and you're feeling that about yourself, like, and I've told you this a million times, and probably still tell you this, like, at least once a week, where it's like it took 9 months for your body to get to where it was to have a baby. It's not going to be a very quick snap back to where it was previously. It takes a lot of time to get yourself comfortable to where it is. It takes a lot of hard work to get yourself comfortable to a place where you're going to feel great about yourself again. And nobody's fault. I don't think I've faulted you for that whatsoever. I mean,
No.
I've gotten mad at you when you're like, I need a snack, and then you grab a Mars bar and then you go to bed. I'm like, that's not going to get you to where you need to be. Or like, I'll definitely give you a backhanded comment about whatever you're eating because you tell me like, oh, this is what I want to do. So I'm going to make sure you get it, and it's going to have to be something that comes with a blunt force, sticker shock comment, because it's not going to get there for you anyways. Where it's like, oh, maybe you should do this, and then I feel like anyways for you, it needs to be told like straight and not like sugar coated. For me, like, yeah, but I see when you're like, oh, you still able to go to the gym and this and that, like in the beginning, no, I definitely didn't. Like, there was no way I was able to do that. And even if I did, I didn't feel like even being there because I knew that, you weren't happy about it. So it was like, it was tough for sure. But that part was like very trying because I had the ability physically to go to the gym and do that stuff, for example, being on the topic of gym. But when I was there, it was a very lackluster motivation because I knew it was like I was going to go home to like stress or attitude or whatever it was. So yeah, it was tough, but at the same time, you still I guess got some sort of workout in, and like I said, that's just for my mental clarity. But I would hope nobody would ever fault their wife for not feeling confident after something like that because yeah, it's crazy it really is crazy what you do or what you went through. Like I said, it's like listen, you've gone through something physically traumatic through your body, so you need to work hard to get back to the place where you're comfortable. I don't know if that answers your question, but
It does. So, if there's like one thing that you've learned about me or that we've learned about each other, what would it be? I would say, like, I'll go first and say that I've, you know, a lot of people say that you can be stubborn, you're a Taurus, but I think you're stubborn with certain things, but you definitely are you're a very patient individual. Or maybe
Well,
you
my
just
turn.
pretend.
I think you're the opposite. But that's okay. I mean, because you know what, the non-patient piece, you know, has led us in really great places. You know, and that's for another podcast, I'm sure, for you. But yeah, it's led us to great places as well. So, but the patience piece, you know, is something where, you know, if you don't have it, there's just going to be constant chaos. So, you know, somebody's got to be level-headed. I'm not saying you're not level-headed, but someone's got to have like the patience to be like, all right, let's take a step back. Let's look at this. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Otherwise, you know, we'd have like, I don't know, 14 different like cribs because, you know, you're not sure if, and you do that. You're like, oh, this is a great chair for the baby. And then next week there's another chair because this one's better. It's like, okay, well, if we just took a step back and did that research and look at something, then we would have been able to just buy one chair instead of having several. We don't have several chairs, for the record. Just, yeah, it's just as an example.
That's an interesting example, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go into. Okay, now this is a big one because for me, don't fucking wake me up. Sleep is super important to me. I'm like the individual who needs like minimum 8 hours of sleep. I go to bed early. I don't like to be woken up. I don't like broken sleep, and I feel like the sleep deprivation of having a baby, newborn, was awful. Like, I truly think that if I were able to sleep how I was sleeping prior to having a child, then I would be okay. But the no sleep, like, I felt horrendous and grumpy. Like, I was like mad, like really mad whenever I would hear him wake up. I was like angry. I'm like, why are you waking up?
Yeah. Yeah, no. The sleep, that's for real. The sleep deprivation is, yeah, it's horrible. I remember like just being at work. I'm like, I can't remember what I did this morning. Like it was, yeah, and not even this morning. It was like just 2 hours ago. I'm like, what the hell did we talk about? Like it was just, and then your patience definitely gets where everything is on edge when you have like, you know, maximum 3 hours in a row of sleep. That's a tough one to get around. I mean, you know, in hindsight, looking back, like, what would we have done differently? I don't know.
I know what I would have done differently.
What would you have done?
I would have gone a night doula sooner. For everyone on here, Anthony was like, absolutely not. I am not having a stranger come into my house and sleep in our, not even sleep, be in our house overnight watching our child. He was like, absolutely not. And I was like, I think it was like week 3. And I was like, I don't give a rat's ass. Like, I need to sleep because I need my mental well-being, my mental health to be, you know, refreshed, I guess you could say. So we actually hired a night doula who was incredible. And I personally highly recommend it. So this is probably where like Anthony and I kind of butted heads because he was like not impressed with it. And I just basically, I had to advocate for myself in that sense. And I was like, I'm suffering severely right now and I need to do this for me. So we ended up doing it. And the first night, I don't think I've ever slept so well in my entire life. And for somebody like Anthony to be like super old school Portuguese, by the way, he was like chirping about it to all of his clients the next day.
Yeah, and to be fair, like to this day, even I'm like, you know, we didn't necessarily need one. We needed like a solid plan. Like if it was like, but that's the thing, the plan blew up like the next day. Like anytime we made a plan, so it was like, hey, Jen, you're gonna take, you know, I don't know, whatever, the Monday to Friday, and I wasn't like my pat leave only started in the summer, right? Because that was our plan. And then a few weeks in, it was like, no, you gotta take your pat leave earlier. I'm like, I'm not taking my pat leave earlier because I don't want to be stuck inside in February doing nothing, right? Whereas I've been able to get a lot of work done in the summertime. But you know, we had arguments about that, and again, it was just like sticking to a plan. So we'd have a plan, but then as soon as like you woke up the next day and you were tired and grumpy and this and that, it's like, no, this isn't working. It's like, okay, we didn't give it a shot, so you don't know how that when it's your turn to sleep for the Monday to Friday, whatever we were doing. But there was never like a rock solid plan. And I think that's definitely something that, um, for anybody that's going to be going through it is to stick to the plan no matter like how difficult it is, and like see it through kind of one cycle and be like, okay, did it work me sleeping 1 week and then you waking up 1 week and vice versa, or every 2 days or every 3 days? I can't remember what we did because we were so sleep deprived at that moment. So, but yeah, and I'll stand by that. Like, I still think like night doula was unnecessary. Was a night doula bad? Absolutely not.
Okay.
She was amazing. Yeah, no, she was amazing because like we actually got to sleep.
And we hired her for like 2.5 months, and it was like the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
I would say worth it. Not every day because that would be an obscene amount of money. But like we did it, I think the days that Jen, because you went to work earlier, so whatever days Jen was working, like those nights there was the night doula, and then because I was still doing the Monday to Friday, so whatever I was working, whenever Jen wasn't working, she would wake up. So and then I would do the weekends. Not a big deal. But yeah, it definitely allowed us to sleep and like kind of got back to being level-headed and patient and all those other things, because it allowed us to get like a solid night's sleep without waking up. I didn't wake up anyways.
You sleep like the dead.
Because but the night she was amazing, and I'm sure people can reach out to the podcast to say who was it, and we'll definitely plug her for sure. But I definitely sleep very heavy. But I think maybe there was only one time. But she was like right on it. The second like he started moving, she was like picked him up and like
Yeah, like she
and
would
then right back
grab him before he'd even like make
I
a
think that
sound.
helped too with like him understanding like nighttime is sleep time.
I would also like anyone listening to this, if you are interested in a night doula, I highly recommend like interviewing people, but also finding someone who doesn't sleep through the night, like an individual who is awake the entire night. So with our night doula, she didn't go to sleep. Like she sat in the chair, she brought her iPad.
That
And
we know of. No, I'm joking. She didn't.
so recommend having somebody that's like on the ball and not like taking a rest. Like even though like I probably wouldn't have mind, like I truly thought that they sleep and that if the baby starts to wake up, then that's when they attend to the child. But in our case, she was up the entire time. She was great. I highly recommend it just for like your sanity and your mental health. It's a good option.
Night doula was great.
And then also like working as a team, like as you heard Anthony say, like on the weekends he would take care of the baby and we kind of worked with each other's schedule. Did it always work out perfectly? Absolutely not, but we managed to push through to make things work. Yeah, I would say that sleep deprivation is a real thing and to be prepared, because it's no joke when people are like, oh, get your sleep now. Like I used to laugh, oh yeah, ha ha ha. No, it's a real thing. But I don't think you can, hide away some hours of sleep prior to having your baby.
Looking back at it though, it wasn't. I don't know. I feel like looking back at it is like, okay, whatever. Like we're past that. Like you get past it pretty quick. But those like month and a half, for us anyways, or for people that need sleep, is that it was a long month and a half. Like it seemed when you were in it, it was long and horrible. But then once you're done it, you're like, okay, it wasn't that bad, I guess.
It always feels like that after.
Yeah, hindsight, right?
Okay, so going into our last segment here. So now we're going to kind of jump into any advice that we'd like to give to new parents or parents to be. So what is one thing that you would say to a new mom or dad, Anthony?
To new mom or dad, I would give them advice on the stuff that we had, like only because every kid's different. But like the snoo, it's basically the bassinet that kind of rocks itself. Like that thing's key because it just starts to rock a little bit more if your baby starts waking up. Like it was pretty cool. Some of the apps that you use were really cool. Give advice on that for sure, like on like which ones to use anyways, because I think the stuff that we had worked really, really good. Things like that. But as for the new parent, I was talking to a buddy and I was like, yeah, I'm like, the postpartum's pretty crazy. So you gotta have a lot of patience, not patience, but like understanding, I think more so than anything, which I didn't understand. to be fair. But like the patience for sure, just to be like, just get through it. Like you're just gonna be a whipping boy for the next 2 months, however long it lasts, and then just get over it, because like you did something pretty miraculous and you went through a lot. Not even including the 9 months prior, right? Depending on how the pregnancy is, but yeah, I think that would be it. Just to be patient and be kind, because it's easy to be an ass. When you're feeling like you're the whipping boy, but it's just something you got to go through. It is what it is, right? Because we can't fully comprehend, and like I said before, still don't, in terms of like what you went through and that sort of thing. And you can tell me all day what you went through. I'll be like, okay, cool, but I would never be able to connect to it, right?
Yeah. I feel like there was that funny meme that I came across about like, talking to your friend for like the 857th time about the same thing. And it's like, yeah, like sometimes I just needed to talk to my husband about like the same thing I was pissed off about, not towards him, or just maybe it was just something in life in general. But if I had to talk about it 800 times, like you were listening to it 800 times like a broken record.
Yeah, you still do. Like, no, there's no postpartum. You still definitely do that.
I feel like it's a source of like therapy, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think if I had to give a tip to new moms and dads, gosh, what would it be?
If you
I
can get
think
one,
for
do a lot.
me, yeah, get an doula. Absolutely. One thing that I couldn't see clearly when I was in it, but I can see it now, is people used to say, it's all good, everything's going to be okay, it's going to get better. When you're in that, you do not see it getting better. It's like you can't see past that mountain. You're like, oh my God, this is my life forever and a day. But it's true. It does get better. Every month gets a little bit easier. There's obviously there are ups and downs of each month, each age, each hurdle, new way of life that they've like discovered, but it does get better. And yeah, if it is one piece of advice that I could give is like, just know that yes, it may be hard now, but it will get better eventually.
Yeah.
But in the
And
midst
to be
of it,
fair,
it doesn't
any advice that anybody takes from this could not work whatsoever, right?
Totally.
AJ's a very chill baby. We don't have thank God we didn't have like a colicky baby. Not that there's anything wrong with those little guys, but it's extremely difficult from what we've been told. But AJ's very chill. He doesn't really complain about anything. So we were definitely lucky with that. And we still went through all that stress and like insaneness, right? Of thinking this is never going to end and this sucks and whatever. So
no, it does get better.
it definitely does, too.
So final reflections from each of you, from each of us, where we're at now and what we're proud of. So I would say like tomorrow, AJ is going to be 8 months. Can you believe that he's literally almost been out as long as he was cooking?
Almost.
Yeah. And I would say like he's such a wonderful little soul. And I'm so happy to have him. I would, would you do it again?
No. No, it's not to be like mean or anything like that, like or take away from like what I feel for him or anything like that. But no, like it was like I said, that postpartum was very stressful. Going through that stuff was very stressful, and we got a lot going on. So I wouldn't want to add any more time to the schedule that already has no time. Or add any additional, like if I had like those same sleepless nights, still trying to have to take care of AJ and Atom and everything else. It's just for like I don't know if I'd be that same patient individual. Like personally, like I don't think I would. It's a great experience, but we have just so much happening at the same time. So I don't think for me, I would be very content having another child. Will he be a brat, spoiled little guy?
No.
Maybe.
No, we
But
won't.
who
Absolutely
knows?
not.
Who knows? He could also just, be not and be like, incredibly amazing, or he's somewhere in the middle. Everyone's different, but it was just I think a lot of a culture shift. Like, is it shift much more if we were to have a second child? No, because you still can't go to a restaurant whenever you want. Like, you still can't do those things. Like, that part doesn't change. But it is, it's a lot all at once. So I think for me, I'm extremely content with one. I wouldn't want to take attention away from him intentionally. Obviously, I wouldn't, but it would happen, right? It's like, the first couple of weeks when we had AJ, Adam was just like moping around because and then it was like, oh, we gotta, I gotta I gotta spend time with Adam. Like, I gotta do this, but I gotta play fetch with him. I gotta walk him. I gotta do all these other things, and that, definitely took a step back for him in those first 3 weeks until I realized like he was depressed, right? So having another baby, yeah, friggin' felt horrible for him. And then having another baby, like I would feel horrible for him again, and then I'd probably feel horrible for AJ again. Like I feel horrible just studying, for the exam that I'm taking. Like, I do. Like I'm like, I could be down there like, I don't know, throwing a stuffy at his face or something like that, and like playing with him, doing whatever, but I can't because I'm up here reading this stupid book, right?
Now we're mumbling, babe. Gotta get this.
I am, but I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. It's just like, it is difficult, and so I think I'd be very happy and content with one.
Fair enough. Well, we're going to end this on a positive note. Anthony's definitely not having any more children, which is totally fine because I don't want to go through that ever again. It was a beautiful experience, but an experience that only needs to be done once. But all in all, I guess a reflection on my part is it does get better. Stay positive, stay strong, and never ever be shy to talk about how you're feeling. To all the women out there, ensure that you really reflect and talk about the emotions and the feelings that you are feeling during your postpartum journey, because it is not easy, but you are not alone. So that being said, we want to thank everybody who tuned in today, and we truly encourage, if you liked this episode, if you want more of it, let us know, share your thoughts with us, and even share this episode with someone who might need it. So that being said, everybody, take care and have a great day.
See ya.